love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, what's up, everybody? You're listening to the Last Light podcast, brought to you by Chad Davis and DJ Starling. Today is, I guess we did an intro before. Today's really going to be the first day of the first interview that we're going to do, and there's a lot of people online who want to know a lot about this guy sitting right here beside me.
Maybe one or two.
Yeah. That may be stretching it just a little bit.
Yeah,
but
there's one guy.
So Chad is, me and Chad have only known each other for a short amount of time, probably 8 months or so. And literally I just saw him on Instagram and started messaging him, and it took off and turned into a friendship, which led into this. And a lot of people want to know who he is and how he started a company that he is the owner of. It's BOWADX, which obviously we're sporting BOWADX Apparel. Oh, God.
Can you see that?
Yeah,
it took me a while to be able to get to do that.
For those of you listening, he's over here flexing his pegs while I'm trying to
the peg pump of love.
I'm trying to hide behind the table. And I don't have quite the physique that this man over here has, but we've never really talked about a lot of our personal stuff. Mm-hmm. It's always about cameras and hunting and things like that. So I'm kind of excited to interview him today. So that's what we're going to do. Today I'm going to interview Mr. Chad Davis and see who he is. So are you nervous?
Yeah, a little bit.
I would be too.
Yeah.
So where are you from?
Hardin County, Tennessee, Savannah, Tennessee. Pretty small town. Love it. But we got a mirror on the other side of town to make our town look bigger. You know what I'm saying? If you spit out the window, somebody's going to drown, I
know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. I wouldn't have it any other way, though. So, yep. So it's about 2 hours from where we are now.
I was about to ask, where is that even?
So if it's on the Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee border. So you guys around Corinth, Mississippi, you know where I'm talking about. I went to school. I went to the University of North Alabama, as well as Freed-Hardeman University. But UNA is right down, just kind of south of, I hate the Mac, south of where we are. Yes, they call it like the tri-state area, so it makes almost like a T right there. So, yeah.
I got you. Wife, kids?
Yep, I got one wife. I've got 14 wives. Yeah. No, I got one. I have a wife. Yes, Mandy, who is my man. She's like my rock. She's awesome. I love her. If I didn't say that, I'd be in trouble.
That's right. She probably won't listen to this.
She probably won't. Yeah, but if she does, brownie points. Wife, yes, Mandy, and I have 2 kids. I got one who is almost going to be 12 here in a few days. I've got one who's 8. So I've got 2 girls. One is like a boy trapped in a girl's body, and the other one is full blown girl. But I love them to death, man.
So were you okay with? I mean, obviously you're okay with girls now, but man, was there ever that like drive where you really want a boy?
I don't know if I'm a legend. You know how that is? I'll tell you.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, because I am the last to carry on the Davis name. And so there was a lot of pressure on me. So, my dad was like, "Oh yeah, son, I'll give you some money if you keep on trying for a boy." I'm like, "I can keep on trying, but as far as a boy," I said, yeah, about $5, So, no, so we, I got, it's just 2 girls, but so I've got two nephews, Chandler, Cooper, hey guys, and a niece, Delaney, who were just awesome. And but I remember kind of spending some time with Delaney, and I was like, I told my dad, I said, I've always wanted boys, but man, there's something special about girls. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I've got 2, and one of them, Courtland, got her first buck this year. So yeah, it's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that another about it, because I've got a kid who got his first deer this year.
Nothing like it, is it?
Yeah, I love it.
Oh yeah, man. So, yep.
So what, have you been hunting your whole life?
So I started trapping. I didn't trap. Dad would trap. We'd run trap lines. And I'll tell you kind of funny story. So Dad would run trap lines. And he used to. This was back, when the big reds were out, the 200s,
Yep.
three wheelers. Believe it or not, guys, there were ATVs with 3 wheels.
Oh, how old are you?
Yeah, man, I turned 45 here in about a few days, so I'm an old guy, plenty of gray. But he'd go out there. I'm talking before school. He'd run trap lines. I'd hop on the 3-wheeler with Dad. We had about 350 acres or so, give or take, back behind our home, and so we would run trap lines. And Dad, man, he'd set me on that 3-wheeler, and he'd go off and 100, 200, 300 yards in the woods and do his thing. Here I am, 3 or 4 years old, 5. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think anything of it until back when the satellite dishes, you had like the big NASA looking things out in your yard. So we got one of those, and I happened to see Freddy Krueger, I think it was, Nightmare on Elm Street, and some little bit of Jason action. And from that point on, man, I was scared to death. But up until then, that's what we did, is do that. So I never saw Jason or Freddy Krueger until after watching that. And I'm on the 4-wheeler, and I see every thing out there look like Jason, look like Freddy Krueger's face looking at me. So I kind of flipped out. And hunting. I got into doing hunting with Dad. The first deer I ever took, I probably took the full clip. I mean, seriously, because I at last one finally got it. But I do remember, man, my first deer by myself was a spike. Man, I tell you, even to this day, I don't know if I got any more excited about a spike. So,
that's awesome.
Man, I was a happy camper, and I was about 35 feet feet up a tree, no tree harness. We didn't even know what that was back then. I'm thinking, how did my dad let me get into a tree 30-something feet up, climbing up? I'm like 9 years old, and I wouldn't let my little girl, I'm just super protective. So, did that. Got into archery. I think my first bow was... I bet it shot 100 foot per second or so. It's like a point blank, I think it was. I think it was called point. I can't remember the name of it. I had the Pearson bows, did the rainbow effect, Yep. And I didn't know anything about the broadheads. I thought bigger the better. So, I guess I had a lot of FOC on the arrow, but
that's basically what we're going back to now. Everybody.
Yeah. So that's pretty much got into bow hunting right off the bat, man. Been at it for years.
Awesome. That leads us into BOWADX. Well, actually, let's back up for a second. What do you do for a living?
Okay, so I work for a company. A lot of people don't know this. So I do work in clinical diagnostics sales. So I work with hospital laboratories, reference labs, and things like that. We have quality control products, making sure that if you go get your blood test ran, it's going to give you the right results. If not, they'll have to recalibrate the machines. We also do A1C type testing, which is diabetes. We have testing equipment for that. Blood virus, anything from HIV, hepatitis, syphilis, you name it, to autoimmune testing. All those big words. Immunohematology. But you like saying those big words because they make you seem like you're smart.
Yeah, that's over my head.
Above my pay grade. Yeah. So I do that, and I got into that. It's kind of funny. So people don't know I used to own a fitness center. It's still in existence here, just south of Nashville. But so I started in bodybuilding when I was 13 years old. I was one of the smallest kids in my class. Funny story, too. I got a good friend, Marty Harden. I remember there was a girl. Her name was Haley. I won't say her last name, but it's the opposite of big, if you say the name. It's like, big. So, but awesome. She's a great girl. But I remember, man, I thought the world of her. I thought, man, she's like, she was a cutie pie, and my wife knows I love her now. But back then, this was years ago. But I remember asking Marty. I said, "Man, dude, I'd like to go out with her." And so back then, the way you went out with somebody is, we had the Astro vans. We had the big maroon Astro van. So Mom, it was like your parents picked the other person up, and then you go to the movies. So. I said, will you kind of ask her to see if she'd go to the movies with me? And so I got it was at the junior high or middle school. I can't remember if it was called middle school then or not. But we had these big bushes. So I kind of got behind a bush. This is real manly. And he asked her, she would kind of go to the movies with me, and she was like, no, gross. He is scrawny, nasty. I didn't know anything about weightlifting at all. And I went home, didn't have a weight bench, but Dad had this old metal bar, and we had these like old tractor looking discs things. We weren't quite discs, but they were like that. And so I remember I had some not duct tape, but masking tape, and I got these things and I put them on there, and I kind of taped them all up, and I have no idea how much weight it was, and I had a carpet roll. So I went home that night and started just anything I could do with that bar, I guess chest presses, pull, what you name it, and started. I did that for about a month and a half or two. We had some 2x4s. We didn't have a lot of money, so we were like, hey, Dad was like, man, let's build a wooden bench. So we built a wooden bench, notched it out. I mean, this is a good thing OSHA wasn't around. But I started working out on that, and I would spend hours and hours every night. And kind of how I learned camera equipment. 3 or 4 years ago, I knew nothing about camera equipment. But I started reading every magazine I possibly could on working out. And so I got into it. And 13, I think I did my first bodybuilding show at 13 or 14. I was fortunate to win the ANPPC Teen USA, win that at around 19, and I think I won the Teenage Bodybuilder of the Year award that year. It was kind of, it was awesome. I'm not trying to be, but it was a blessing because I started out being this super skinny kid, and it was just just trying to grind at it every night, man, and every day, just trying to eating. I was always eating. They called me Rice Man in school because I'd come to school eating rice and turkey. So I got into that. Kind of got into training a little bit. My degree is in biochemistry. I went to school. I changed my degree so many times, man. I went from everything education, and I am talking a lot here, but I got into bio. So I ended up was going to be pre-med, and it got into the biochemistry thing, and this kind of, so that's my degree. But I ended up I've always owned businesses, you name it. It's I have an entrepreneurial type background.
Yeah, literally whenever we even talked about it today on the way up here. I was on the phone with him, and you were like, "Oh no," we were talking about our radio voices, I guess, because I'm trying my hardest to talk the way that I always talk, but it's hard not to just really get that radio voice out. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I used to DJ a radio show," and I was
I was the shoe carnival DJ. Yeah, in college, and it was like, rack them up, stack them up, bring them on down. The more you buy, the more we make, folks. Let me rip you off. I mean, save your money, folks. Here at the Shoe Carnival, and that's what I did. So I had to wear a tuxedo every day, and you felt good until people at the gas station or something like that were like, "What do you do?" I'm a Shoe Carnival DJ.
So you'll find out that Chad is the man of many talents. So like every time I say, "Oh yeah, I used to do that," I had a pressure cleaning business back then too, in high school. You may not know, it was called Aquaforce, and it was like, if we can't clean it, then it ain't dirty. But everybody got it mixed up. They said, if it ain't dirty, then we can't clean it. So yeah, man. So if you were to take a bomb and fill this little container with a ton, like thousands of nails, and then set it off, the amount of directions that those nails go in, that's basically Chad's brain. I figured out the way that, this guy, he's got so many ideas in his brain, and you get him talking about it, and it's just like, oh my goodness. Like if we did everything that's in your brain, we wouldn't have time for anything.
I know, man. It's like an explosion of sweet goodness.
His brain doesn't stop. It never stops. I guess you can call it sweet goodness. But,
that's what I like to call it.
And so, so through all that, ended up, go ahead.
Well, so I ended up, believe it or not, I ended up selling mobile homes after college because I owned a pressure cleaning business, and I ended up meeting a guy who was the plant president there in Savannah, Hardin County. And so instead of going the medical route, I ended up being a wholesaler for Clayton Homes, and enjoyed that. But the market when I got transferred to Waco, Texas. This was before Chip and Joanne. And Chip, man, he's such a good guy. I mean, Chip go way back. I have never met him. Actually.
I was like, are you serious?
No.
My wife will be your best friend.
It sounds cool. Maybe I did. I didn't know it back then. But within a matter of time, everything just went south down there as far as the economy. And I think like there were 9 plants when I got there. When I left, there were none. So did that. Jumped into the fitness thing. Opened up a gym in just south of Nashville. It went really well. Had that for a few years called Chadwick's. Ended up selling it. And just wanted to, I loved it and did real well with that. Like I said, I did the bodybuilding and all that stuff too for a while. And I think the last show I did, I was fortunate enough to win the overall. It was the Flex Lewis Classic. That's been years ago, I guess. It was the very first one. And I said, no more for me. And so, yeah. And then really got into hunting.
So now I guess we're at this point in Chad's life. Who knows? But he decided to start BOWADX, and that's really like I've never heard this story either. So I really like where did that come from? Where did your drive come from for like this idea? I mean, obviously had to be one of your thousands of ideas that all of a sudden just blew up.
Yeah. So it was either an underwear company or BOWADX. BOWADX. How did it start? So I was when the company I worked for, full time. About every 3 years we get a company car, and when you get a company car, that first go around, you get, is it Sirius or Cirrus radio? I don't know if it's which one.
I'm not real sure.
I don't know. So I think it's Sirius.
It's called
something
Sirius,
like that.
Now it's Sirius XM. Used to be Sirius
XM. Yeah, you're listening to Sirius XM. But no, so we got that, and with that being said, I kept hearing all these commercials about people who started these companies in their garage, like Steve Jobs. I think it is Jobs too, right? Guys, really, I'm a country guy, and I mean, limited. I was for a long time. Is it Jobs? It's Jobs.
Jobs.
Yeah. All right. So Steve Jobs. You got Apple Computer. All these different companies that started in their garages, and they just blew up. And so I kept hearing the same exact commercial all the time. And then I remember going to church, and this was actually kind of even down in Waco too. It gave me this idea, but the preacher was like, sometimes you think you're jumping off a cliff, and you take that leap of faith, and you find out it's a small curb. So all this stuff has started. It was kind of just melting and kind of just molding together in my head, amongst other thousands of things. But I went hunting in Kentucky, and I was there with my dad, I remember, and I'm in a tree, and I came up with the idea. I thought, well, man, I want to do something that I can start in my garage. I don't know about gadgets. I'm not a tech guy like you. DJ's like Mr. Techie. I think your middle name is Tech. But but I said, I like design. I've always, I was going to be an art major, and how I got into biology, I don't know. But back then, but design wasn't really huge. Got into all that, and just ended up. I came up with the idea of BOWADX, but it was BOWADDICTS originally. So I sat on that for about a year, and because I thought, man, I'd like to see a design. I could do an apparel company, because back then all the apparel was crazy flashy. You had flames all over the place,
right.
Like the Affliction stuff. Nothing against those guys, but it was just lots of stuff going on. And I thought, I think there's a market there for something more streamlined. And also I wanted to bring my faith into it. So I sat on that idea for about a year. And a lot of things, we think of, you just don't put them into motion. And a year later, in that same exact tree, I'm in that tree, and I was like, oh man, I got to do something with this thing. And I said, ADDICTS is just not going to flow well on a shirt or something. And I was like, addicts, what can I come up with for addicts? And so that's where the BOWADX, because I knew I wanted something in the middle when I had the idea for the cross. A lot of people don't even recognize it's a cross, Yep. They think it's a broadhead. So that's where the idea came from. And I went through about 6 or 8 different designers. A lot of the designers you realize that are designers, but they're not hunters. They're designing little 6-point bucks, 3-point bucks. Nothing against those, because I was pretty happy with my spike that I took. But I was like, I want something that if I'm going to have a buck part of that logo, or somewhere or another, I want it to be something that some guy's like, yeah, I'll put that. I'd put that thing on my wall. So needless to say, I was like, God, do you want this thing to happen or what? Because I could not find the right logo. And then I was watching Major League Bow Hunter and end up contacting them. And then the lady was like, oh, yeah, Mark Danker is Jeff Danker's. They're related. I think he's like he's his cousin, I think, or something like that. So she gave me Mark's number. Mark, he's a great guy. I think he owns Project 45 or something like that now. Designer logo. I mean, he sent me like 30 logos, but this one, when he sent it, I was like, yes. And so, yeah, man, it started with that. He started our first few shirts. I think he designed our first 5 or 6 or so. And then I got on YouTube. I learned Photoshop, didn't know anything about all that stuff, Illustrator. And so I kind of took over the design of all of our T-shirts.
And what a lot of you don't know is that Chad is a super talented designer. I mean, whether it be drawing, we're in his office. He's actually got some pictures on the wall that he's drawn. He showed me some stuff that he's done recently. And I mean, the guy is, if you don't know it, he is super talented when it comes to art and design.
I try. Wish I had more time to do more of that. But
I open up Illustrator and I turn it back off. Like literally, he inspired me last week. I was like, I'm going to learn how to do this. And it's so much more. Like I can't even draw. My kid's been watching these videos on YouTube, and it's like, I don't even know what the name of it is. I'd give them a shout out. It's like basically how to draw for kids. And
my kids watch that.
It's this dad. He gets beside his kid and says, draw this line, draw this line.
Yeah, so making millions.
Yeah, so my son's been doing that, and like he's drawing some crazy good pictures, and he wants me to help him. I'm like, son, I can't do that. Like, so I don't know why I think I can get on Chad's level of design, but
man, it's but there's things you do well that I stink at.
So you started BOWADX. What y'all don't know, before Chad, if I looked at, that was a really loud pop that I just, but either way.
Hey, do you know what the worst sound in the world is?
That's like, what's that called? ASMR?
Yeah. I can't stand it.
I got some. You'll learn later. I'm a youth leader at my church, and there's some kids that used to they watch those ASMR videos all the time. I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah.
But either way, so before I got started, or with you, or met you, and just knowing who BOWADX was, I would have thought that y'all have this huge warehouse. Mm-hmm. You're a huge operation. You see it, people all over Facebook, Instagram. They're all wearing your shirts, wearing your apparel, and things like that. Mm-hmm. I really would have thought that you had a giant warehouse, and what y'all don't know is it's literally Chad and Mandy.
Yeah. It's Mandy and I. We could have expanded. People who don't know too, that anytime you buy something from BOWADX, you're going to have a hand signed. Right now, yep. We hope we can continue this. We've grown so much. I mean, I think we've sold to 23 or 24 countries now in every state in the U.S. It's a guide. I don't take credit for that. That's a guide thing. Sometimes we're up for hours and hours a night, just hand signing. Thank you so much for your order. We want people to know that you're part of the family. If you buy a product from us and we take customer service, I take it extremely serious. I mean, I can't tell you, if you have an issue, we're going to take care of you. But yeah, man, it's mainly my wife and I. Yeah.
So if you order a shirt today, it's got Chad's sweat on it from where Mandy's where they're packing it. So like you open up the box and you just smell the Davis family.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we smell good.
No, that's the truth. Like even I ordered something not long ago, and like Mandy still wrote a note to me, like, and I was like, man, that's awesome. That's something that I've loved about BOWADX forever. Is that it is y'all are very personable company.
Well, you don't see that with companies, and you and I had this discussion. I'm not going to go too far in this because we hope to do a podcast on this eventually, but a lot of companies have gotten too big for their britches, where Guys, if you're listening to us right now, if you own a company or if you're a big company out there, do not forget the guys who got you to where you are now. If you have someone that works hard to give, to create content on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, if you see that, come on, guys, give them a like. Don't ignore these guys, because I've told you I've already kind of experienced some of that, and it is frustrating. So, all right, that's another subject for another time.
So, real quick, let's see. What is your best memory of BOWADX? Like, is there been anything? Let's say, whoa, that's loud.
What is that? My computer?
Yeah, it's your computer.
Oh wow! I thought it was off.
Is there been any just crazy experience that's come through BOWADX?
For BOWADX, the first thing that comes to mind is how many people in the industry that I grew up watching that I now know through BOWADX, who even wear BOWADX and things like that. I even mentioned Jeff Danker. Jeff, I think a lot about you. I just liked him from the beginning, because I thought, man, there's something different about that guy. He put on his faith he wears his faith, and I just remember, like, oh man, it'd be so cool knowing him, and now I do, and he wears some BOWADX stuff, and which is just cool, and but other guys, and Stan Potts, different ones that that I've gotten to know over the years, but knowing all these guys, and knowing that a lot of those guys wear BOWADX because of the meaning behind it, means a lot to me, and that tied into the amount of people who come up to us at shows saying that they were wearing our shirts in an elevator or somewhere, and all of a sudden, because of a shirt that was a faith-based shirt, because that's the whole bread and butter of BOWADX. We're built on our faith, and we're not afraid to share that. But they're telling us, I was wearing a shirt on an elevator. The next thing I know, someone's reading my shirt. We start talking about God. Then we're praying together. We're hugging on each other. That's awesome. And we hear that time and time again. So to me, our apparel, it's more, a lot of people, you don't know that a lot of our shirts might feed a kid for 7 days. We support a number of charities. I don't brag about it. I just let people know that we try to drive and put God in the driver's seat. I'm just an employee for BOWADX, but we try to do a whole lot of good through our sales. We support a number of kids overseas: Operation Smile, Compassion International, Cure International, feed the children, feed the starving children, you name it. So there's a lot of good that can be brought on just by purchasing that shirt, because it can go a long ways dollar-wise to help kids. So, but those are the things that stick out to me, because we can do a lot of good with something. So my goal personally is to use my talents for a higher purpose and let people see God through that. And I think that's the key to it all, DJ. It's like whatever your passion is, guys, whatever it is, listen to me. Try to find a passion. If you don't have one, if you're sitting there watching TV every day, try to find a passion, but use it for the right reasons. Use it for a way to glorify God. Yep. You can have a story that's black and white, that's nothing, or you can have one that's full of color, because it's what you do for God, and it's not going to be easy. BOWADX, I've had days where, God, why are you letting this happen? You have slow months, and you have months you can't keep up because you got so many sales. So it's any fairy tale story. It's not a straight line. It's up and down. It's up and down. But in the end, we know who we always win. That's right. And as a child of God, so that's what it's about, man. And I'm not afraid to share that faith, guys. Yeah.
Well, if you're watching this, obviously not listening, you see me looking down. I've got my iPad laying right here with a timer on it. We're going to try to keep these as close as we can to 30 minutes.
I see that, yeah.
But again, we want y'all to know really what this is about, and he just touched on it some. So I have one last question for you.
Yep.
And that is, we've heard already who Chad Davis is, where he comes from, and basically your story. But what's your real story?
Yeah, my story for me, man, is simple, okay? My whole goal in life is to be a light for everybody else. I want to be a role model for these kids out there, and I will say this because I'm not afraid to say it, man. There's a lot of podcasts I can't listen to because I mentioned it earlier, if it's language or other things, because I want to be that role model to where if you're listening to our podcast, the whole family can listen to it, and you're not going to hear some of this bad stuff going on out there. I think God calls us to be different, man. I want to be different. And I want everybody, we're going to have fun, but I want to be that person. I want to leave a legacy behind, whether you know me for 1 minute, for an hour, for a year, for all my life. I want to leave a legacy that people can look back and say, man, there's something different about that guy. He's a good guy, and I just want to bring people to God. And I want to have fun, and just, you know, I just want to be a guy that people like, and I want to treat everybody the way I want to be treated.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you got anything else to leave us with? That's pretty good.
Man, I don't know. Just keep at it, guys.
Here's the obvious. If you want to buy any BOWADX apparel.
Yeah. So let's try to do a little bit of DJ work. So don't forget to go to www.bowadx.com, BOWADX.com. Do you like that? But seriously, guys, bowadx.com. I really would appreciate it. We appreciate all your business. If you would spread the word, we got some new cool stuff coming on, a lot of cool things happening, and we're pumped, man.
Where can they follow you at?
You can follow me personally at the little @ symbol, Chad, CHAD, Ryan, RYAN, Davis, DAVIS. So it's Chad Ryan Davis, all one word. You'll see more of my photography stuff there, or at BOWADX. That's on Instagram. We have a Twitter page. I don't do a lot of Twitter, but I don't even know. I think it's like BOWADX or something. They probably will get rid of us. Or on Facebook at BOWADX, I guess. Is it? Or Facebook /BOWADX. So, yeah, be on the lookout for us, guys. I appreciate all the follows too, all that good stuff, and all the likes. You know, we're all trying to get that, and I appreciate all you guys. Hey, I'm not too good to say I love you guys too. If you ever have anything you're going through, reach out to myself or DJ, and man, we'll pray for you. You name it, guys. But,
make sure whether you're listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, whatever you are, make sure you rate us. That helps us out a ton.
Yeah.
If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up.
Leave
a comment.
And if you don't like it, hit the like button. Hit the dislike button twice.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening today. It's been a pleasure to really hear Chad's story. I didn't know a lot of that. So the guy's an interesting man. Reach out to us on social media, whatever it might be, and we'd love to hear your feedback. Again, thanks for listening. Have a good day.
Yep. See you guys.
I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it.